Big week, so we got a big show coming up at you next. It is finally here after a long year of watching them win it all last year, watching them go undefeated, watching them dominate us in that game. It is finally time to take the Rams back. Here we are, the game, the greatest rivalry in all of sports. OSU versus the team up north. Dustin, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. It is game week. It is Thanksgiving morning-ish when we tape in this pod. And yeah, man, getting ready for a little turkey this week and obviously ready for a little football as well. It's always interesting, this time of year when this week comes around, you're like, oh, man, you think about the game, all year long. And then this week happens and it's like such a short week because, kids are out of school. We got the holidays. You got other games going on. You got stuff going on. We both are got travel going. Like, it's just a lot of stuff, but it gets here quick. And before you know it, it's going to be noon on Saturday and they're going to be, strapping it up and getting it on. And hopefully, hey,
listen.
But, you know what I'm saying? It's, what's it been? I was reading an article. Has it been like 1,800 and some days? Man, let's get this thing going.
Since we haven't won since 2019 because obviously 2020 was the COVID season, and then they went on to win 3 straight after that. But let's talk about, when did this become a thing for you? Like, you grew up in Ohio? Did you always follow Ohio State? Did you understand the rivalry? Like, when did it really hit for you that this was a huge thing in your life?
Man, basically since I was, old enough to remember anything. In my family, I have 4 uncles. They all played for Ohio State. So my whole family is Buckeyes. They all played for Woody Hayes.
Yeah.
My mom's brothers, my dad's brothers, it's so point is, yes, we this rivalry lived in our home from the day I was born, essentially. And, then of course me going to play there and beating the Wolverines 3 out of 4, 3-1 against those guys. And it continues to this day, how much we dislike the team up north. And it's been a crappy few years because they've had the right to talk some crap. And you know what? It's good for the rivalry. I don't like to lose. No one likes to lose. But if you're going to lose, it makes the rivalry good. Point in saying that is, like, Tressel, Urban dominated against the Wolverines.
Tressel was 10-1. Urban was 7-0.
Yeah. It almost became a point where it was like this game would roll around. And you're like, oh. I mean, yeah, it's a big game. Let's go. But you just expected to win, and there was no doubt that you were going to lose. So it was the last 3 years was like, it was really stressful, going into the games.
Yeah, I tell you what. So after they won it in 2021, that was the first time in my life that I actually seen like the Block M hats. Like, for a long time, like I didn't even know
around Ohio.
Yeah, like I didn't even know they existed until like after they won, because everybody would bring their stuff out. And my joke was, well, you done had that on ice for 10 years because you ain't really had a chance to really wear it. But I always say 21 was one of those. It's touchy for me because, my brother-in-law's girl was a huge diehard Wolverine, and she always would just take the heat. Like, every time this game come around, we just joke, oh, y'all ain't got a chance. And when they won, it was nice for her to see that, because she eventually ends up passing away a year later. So that was the last game that she got a chance to watch. It was nice to see her have that moment before she passed away. So I always got a little bit of something there for him. Outside of that, I could care less about them all. They stunk when I played. Obviously, they did a really incredible job of turning things around. We know everything that's on the line with this year. Obviously, a chance to go to the Big Ten championship for us. And obviously they want to play spoiler. Listen, the last couple of weeks, they've looked good. They're coming off of a 50-point game against Northwestern. And I know people's like, well, it's Northwestern, but 50 points is impressive because we didn't score 50.
Oh, yeah.
So therefore, 50 points is impressive. This game is always going to be the same. Whatever team runs the ball and dominates in the trenches is going to win. You know, you think about the 21 game when we lost, I think physically they were better than us physically. Not talent-wise, but physically they were more physical than us in the show. 2022, I think that they out-schemed us. I think they took that. They knew that they would be a physical team, but they did some things to out-scheme us to where, you know, you get a guy to misfit a gap and Donovan Edwards is taking off for a long run, or you get confused in the back end and now it's a wide receiver wide open on the post route scoring a touchdown. Like, so they just kind of out-schemed what we were doing. And then in last year, I just think that they overall was the better team. You know, I think that they had more talent than us for the first time. And I thought that they did a really good job of developing, you know, that talent around them. So obviously they went on to win the whole thing. So therefore, yes, they were the best team in college football last year. However, when we get to present day, listen, I know it's not the greatest year for them. I understand that. I totally get that. But as respect for the rivalry, you have to go out there and score as many points on them as you possibly can. Okay, if you have an opportunity to score 100 points, because Ryan Day is famous for doing it. If I got a chance to score 100 points, I'm going to do it. If you got that opportunity to do it, you absolutely take advantage of it, because you know why? They do it to you, so you got to do it to them first. Listen, this rivalry, people call this thing a rivalry. It's really, I talked to Urban yesterday on the radio, and he made it a good point now, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. It's not a game. It's a way of life. Like this is, and the thing is, and it got lost in the shuffle, and I got to ask your opinion on this, because people say that because we don't have, back when you played, even when I played, predominantly the team was dominated by Ohio kids, Ohio athletes.
Yeah.
And now you do such a great job of recruiting nationally, which I love. I love the fact that we can go and get the top guys from any state and bring them here. But do you think that they quite don't understand it to the magnitude of an Ohio kid, or do you think they can be adopted?
I think it can be adopted. I don't think it can be adopted in a year or two. You know, it's tough because I would say this much, okay? Like when I played, we would have a handful of guys from Florida, a handful of guys from Texas, California, right? It wasn't a team of like 70% of the team was from all over the country. I mean, it was like 70% guys from Ohio, and then some of the best players from other states. And for those guys from the other states to sort of be indoctrinated into the culture, it took all the other guys that grew up in Ohio to buy in. Like imagine being, in a fraternity, right? And you don't understand the traditions and whatever. And you go in there and you start looking around the room at all these older guys, upperclassmen, and you're like, oh, they're all doing this. When everyone's kind of locked into it and understands it to a certain degree where there's so much passion behind it, I think it's easier for those guys from they're outsiders to buy in quicker, as opposed to the entire team. And I'm not saying the entire team is like this, but I think there are less players that understand what it's about to be able to push that tradition and culture on the other guys. I don't think there's as much of an emphasis, and I don't think it's like anybody's fault. They're trying to get good players, but at the end of the day, when it comes to this game specifically and how much it means, they did a better job over the last X amount of years, and Harbaugh deserves a lot of credit for that, because he brought back sort of that grit and toughness and the rivalry to that program. And say whatever you want about Harbaugh, he was great for the rivalry. It was great. Yeah. I mean, it's turned this thing back around, and I think we're going to win on Saturday. But there is some doubt. I mean, how can there not be? There's pressure on Ohio State. There's pressure on Ryan Day to win this game. And when there's pressure, you don't know how things are going to play out. And that's what makes this sport so beautiful, and what makes this year so beautiful is that there have been so many upsets. And I know Ohio State's favored by 20, 20 and a half, 21, whatever it may be, 3 touchdowns. Let's call it 3 touchdowns, which means you should win the game. Dude, it doesn't matter. I mean, this game's going to be played at high noon on Saturday, and, a turnover here, a missed kick there, and all of a sudden things spiral. I mean, you look at that Indiana game Buckeyes had last week, and, if I'm Indiana, I'm looking at them like, man, they got off to a good start, and then the punt happens, for them, and then things spiraled. So, things could be different. One play here, one play there can totally turn a game on its heels. So, man.
I don't have really too much doubt. I'm gonna tell you, it's something that happened this offseason that led me to believe that I think that this would be the Buckeyes will win this game long time ago. And it was the day that Ryan Day gave up play calling. And when I say that, I don't mean it not a diss at him at all. I think Ryan Day is one of the greatest offensive minds in college football. I think that when he gets out there and he gets on that thing and he gets rolling, he's aggressive, he does all these things, and it's wonderful. He's put up broken records for points, for yards, all of those things. The offense truly took off once Ryan Day became a coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So I'm not saying it like a diss to that in any way or shape, form, or fashion. But what I'm saying is, in this game for the past couple of years, I think he's been so locked in. He's been so trying to get people to understand the importance of this game that the players, I don't think, truly enjoyed the rivalry. Like, you started moving senior tackle away. So, like, the senior tackle element it wasn't a part of the week. I don't know else what would happen. I know we used to have Earl Bruce, but rest his soul.
What's the senior tackle? What's going on with that now? I may miss.
I don't know. I don't know currently, but for the past couple of years, he's taken it and moved it after the game. You know how it's that Friday? What? Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Because he said I want everybody to be locked.
Hold up.
You didn't know this? Yeah, you know how. Yeah, so
dude, I don't live in Columbus. Like I'm not listening to every single thing about everything.
He was so locked. That's my point. So I see you get my point.
Yeah,
I
know.
He was so locked in.
That's why I need you, Parker. That's why I need you, man.
He was trying to make sure that everybody was locked in for this game, and that they left no stone left unturned. So he would move. He moved senior tackle from that Friday or that Thursday, whatever day it was, and he would move it after the week after the game. So
like the season's over?
Pretty much. But the thing is, that's my point. Like, the thing is, he was so like trying to get that they didn't get to enjoy the full week, like, all of the things that went with it. And I think
this goes with it. This is something that goes with it.
I think he overdid it. So I say all that to say,
okay,
when did I know that he would win this game? Is when they hired. Well, first they hired Bill O'Brien, but then it became Chip Kelly. But when he gave up the play calling, now it takes the pressure off. Because in these games, when he got in some of these big games, I do think, and I think I got supporting evidence to say this, he did get a little tight in some of the calls that he was doing. It wasn't the typical Ryan Day that we came to know and love. He was very passive in some of these things, and he played not to lose more than play to win. And I think that you just can't do that in these games. You got to go out there and play to win every down. So with Chip Kelly calling the plays, I think that takes some tension off of Ryan Day. Obviously, he's still very heavily involved in it, but not to have that play-to-play duty, I think, allows him to lock in, see the rest of the team, focus on areas that he sees lacking, maybe give those speeches, maybe go talk to a player here and there over the course of a game to get them locked back in. I think that those things is going to help them win this game. Now, when you look at the Wolverines, is there anything, because I know we don't really pay attention to them, but is there anything that concerns you about them that you like, this is something that I think they could take advantage of the Buckeyes in?
Well, I mean, listen, I think that the one area where Michigan is still really, really good is
I can't believe you just said that word. Not this week. It's the team up.
Oh, Michigan?
I
Dude,
can't.
come on.
I haven't said. Listen, I haven't said that. I haven't said that word since 2011 was the last time I referred to them as that. Once I got to Ohio State, I haven't said the M word in that many years. What's that? 13 years. Shame on you. Shame on you. Listen, even when I'm on the Big Ten, I refer to them as the Wolverines. I will not say the M word.
Okay, so what's the M word? Okay,
I can't say it. It's like a curse word.
Am I on an island here? Like
what?
I feel like the people that are so into the crossing out the M's and not saying Michigan. I don't know. I feel like I'm living in like a bizarro world where you guys are nuts.
But call me crazy, but at least you call it. Listen,
call me maybe.
You know why? Because when I was at Ohio State, if you said that word, like they make you drop and do push-ups.
Dude,
so
I totally get it. You guys put an emphasis on that.
I can't. It's instilled in me. It's who I am as a person now, so I can't get it out. So I can't say the M word because if I do, I feel like I got to get down and do push-ups. So
yeah. I think the team up north is like it's kind of a cool thing. It's like a tongue-in-cheek diss to Michigan, right? That's what it is. But I mean, remember when they tried to call us Ohio with Brady Hoke and stuff back in the day, and how cheesy that was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Devin. I talked to Denard Robinson when I did the Big Ten last year tailgate show, and that's what he referred to us as Ohio.
I love it because I think like a rational human being, and don't get too caught up in stupid things like this. All I care about is beating their ass at the end of the day.
I mean, you know what I mean? That's the most important part, but
that's it.
I just didn't like them. Like I didn't have no friends for them. I didn't talk.
You think I like them? I don't like them.
I don't even to this day, Dustin. I don't wear blue. Like I don't even wear the color blue. Like it's sad. It's sad because I'm so removed from it, but like it's still dominant. It's a part of who I am. Like I don't even wear blue.
I'll tell you a funny story, man.
Irvin did an amazing job of beating it in our head.
I know. Here's a funny story. A funny story for you, man. So this is like 20. I don't know. I think you were still there. I came down I want to see a practice, and I hadn't been back. Hadn't really seen Urban since he'd been there.
Did he kick you off?
I come down and
you had blue on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I had like slacks and like a blue golf shirt on, and it wasn't like a navy blue. It was like a royal blue.
Yeah, he said,
like Kansas City Royals blue.
You know what the sick thing is? This is how brainwashed we was. If we seen it at practice, we'd say, Urban, you see that blue shirt over there? And he go get him a shirt.
Hey, you know what? Even though I say that you guys are nuts for doing that, if that's what it took to get it done, then
it worked.
Do what it takes.
It worked.
But dude, so they saw me. I was wearing blue. They didn't kick me off the sidelines, but
no, they brought you another shirt. I'm sure
they brought me an Ohio State shirt to put on. They made me change my shirt.
Yeah. It was serious.
I mean, it was a little ridiculous, to be honest with you. But I'm like, okay, that's what they do. I'm in their home. I'll take my shoes off, right?
Listen. They take the blue Gatorade out the freezer here. You can't even get a blue Gatorade.
Like you got to admit that's pretty silly, right?
Listen, Irvin and them they mess around with this stuff, but it worked. That's why I am how I am today. Like I can't stand. Now I do respect what they did last year. Like I have to take the analyst role and be like, you know what, as a football player, I respect what they did. As a guy who learned how that whole thing came about outside of the Connor Stallion things, how that thing came about, who they were. Like I got to the NFL and I met some of those guys and I was like, man, you know what? You're not that bad. Because before in my mind, Dustin, like, if you go to the Wolverines, like if you're a Wolverine, like you make terrible life decisions. That was my mind. Like you are a terrible person because why would you go there? First of all, they lose everything. They weren't good.
This was like a like a hate crime. Like this is how we used to think about them. Like they were like a different race or something, and you were a racist.
Pretty
much. What I mean? That's kind of what it was like, right?
That's how I felt. Like, and then come to find out, I go to the NFL. I meet a couple of them. Like, you know what, bro? You actually a cool dude. You actually a cool guy. Like, Steve.
I got a bunch of friends that played there, man.
Steve. He gave us this job. He go blue all day long. He's terrible. I thought he would be a terrible person, but he's actually a really good guy.
I truly believe the rivalry is more for the fans than it is the players. And, not in a way that the players don't care, because obviously we care a ton. And like in terms of the game itself, playing in that game, I never was more focused. I was never more locked in during the game preparation. I was never going into a game where I knew that no matter what, I don't care. There's no pain. There's no tomorrow, right? Like we've got to put it all on the line for this game. And that's how I took it. And that's sort of the pedestal I put the game on, right? It was bigger than every other game. And that's how I looked at it. And in terms of the hatred and all these little, novelty things, the M crossed out and the team up north and all that stuff, that's great. I think that's for the fans. I think it's for the fans, and it's great show. It's great fodder. But at the end of the day, we're the ones out there in the arena, blood, sweat, and tears, dude, into that rivalry, into that game. We made the game, and the players before us made the game.
Yeah,
the guys back in the day. I mean, the Woody and Bo, obviously a big part of it.
Yeah,
developing that rivalry.
10-year war.
The 10-year war. So like that was obviously huge. I mean, there's so many great players from Michigan, like the Woodsons and the Tom Brady's to the, you can go back to whatever, man. Elvis Gerbach back in the day. Like we could talk about Andy Katzenmoyer, and we could talk about Craig Krenzel and Tyvis Powell having a pick in the big house. Come on. We can talk about all of us.
Yeah.
Both teams that have made this so special.
And that was one of the that was one of the things that Urban preached. He would say careers are made and legends are born, and if you make a
that game.
Yeah, if you make a play in this game, like you become a legend. And it was so cliche. Like you would hear that, and I was just like, dude, like, come on, man. And even in 2013, when I made this save the season play, like in the moment, Dustin, like I didn't even realize the magnitude of the play. Like like to me, it was like a layup. It was like the way it went was they came out. First of all, we practiced they showed on film that this was the 2-point conversion play that they run. And it was like they was going to motion from 2x2 to 3x1. They was going to run a guy up because they knew we was going to bracket everything. They was going to run a guy up, and then they was essentially going to run 1 yard into the end zone, turn around and box the corner out. Like that was essentially the play. And the funniest thing is they come out in 2x2. They do the motion, and Urban calls timeout. And Coach Combs, shout out to Coach Combs. I'll never forget this. Coach Combs run right up to me. He said, Tyvis, I'm telling you right now, this is the exact play that we went over in practice. You have to make the play. I'm like, all right, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember the play. Okay, cool. It is so sad. It is kids today don't understand. The average fan and kids don't understand how just film study makes you so much better in football. Like, people think you got to be this most athletic guy, or you got to be the fastest guy. No, you just got to know what the heck they about to do. So anyways, they do the same. They come out. First of all, they should have audible, but they did the same play, which is the dumbest thing in the world. And yeah, I step in front of it, and he like threw it straight to me. It was like, wow, it's like stealing. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, I made a play, like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, we won the game. Yes, we won. That's for 24 wins in a row. Yes. And it wasn't.
Oh, that was the pretty much the last play of the game, right? You took a knee after that.
Yeah. We had they onside kicked it.
Onside kick. Yeah.
We got the onside kick, and that was game. But
so what's funny? We have something in common. Was that your freshman year?
That was my red shirt freshman year. So I red shirted in 2012, and my first year playing was 2013.
Okay, so your first year playing at the big house was that 2013. So what's funny is in 2001, way before you, that was my freshman year. We played the big house, and I intercepted the last pass of the game.
Look at that.
So we got something in common.
Did you realize at that moment, like, that it was
well,
a huge
to be fair, your play mattered a lot more than mine because we were up, I think, two scores.
Oh,
dude, I did one of those. It's stat play because it was a Hail Mary. I caught it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was not a difficult interception, but I still got it, and just saying.
But I did
picked off John Navarre.
I didn't even understand how big the play was until I'm gonna tell you.
Your play was huge.
But I'm gonna tell you when I realized it was big, though. So after we get done, we're in the locker room, we celebrating and all those things. Urban does his. We made Urban dab. We was like, you got to dab if we win. So he dabbed and all those things. So we having a good time in the locker room. We break. Everybody go take the shower. So I'm taking a shower. I get done, and Jerry Emick, you know Jerry, right? Jerry comes up to me and he says, Tyvis, the media wants to talk to you. Now listen, Dustin, I've been playing for 12 games. The media has never, ever wanted to talk to me, but they did this day. So I'm like, the media want to talk to me? Okay. So I get dressed, go up in there. And this is when it was real. They was talking to it was a bunch of people in there. They said, Jerry goes, we got Tyvis Powell. And when I tell you that entire room came up to me with microphones and camera, I was like, oh, snap.
Oh, that's what it's like, huh? Okay.
This what Braxton and Urban be going through. Oh, snap. And so I was like, wow, that's when I realized, like, all right, this was something big. And, obviously I became a quote unquote legend because of those things. But yeah, man, it was a wonderful time, and I was glad that I was able to do it. Hopefully we see something else happen this year. It should come down to it. I know we have this offensive line injuries and all those things and all the shuffling on the offensive line. And I understand that their defensive line, particularly their two defensive tackles, are like dudes, like NFL players.
Well, that's why I never got to say, because we got on the tangent of the word Michigan.
Yeah.
So the one thing that does scare me a little bit, doesn't scare me, but they're good against the run defensively. Yeah. So I think that's an area where they can have some success.
Yeah, and if they can do some pressure and stop us from running the ball and all of those things. At the end of the day, like I don't think they have enough. I just don't think they have enough. The only way that they can win this is they would have to really shorten the game. Pull what Northwestern did or what Indiana did in the first quarter. Just milk up a lot of time and have long drives. We got to get off the field on third downs. We haven't been great at getting off the field on third downs this year, so we got to do better at that. But like I say, I don't see it. I don't. I think the Buckeyes win very convincingly. I think that they cover the spread. My final score prediction is like, I'm going to say 42-14. I'm going to go somewhere along the lines of something like that. But I don't think that this game is going to be close. It shouldn't be close. I understand in rivalries. Listen, in a rivalry game, forget about what you've seen on film. Forget that, because that's not who they are. You can see that they'll drop passes. They'll look slow. All of those things on film, that's what it'll look like. When you get in that game, I'm telling you right now, they faster, they more physical, they more crisp. It's unbelievable, because in 2013, that game had no business being that close from what I seen on tape. But they was a totally different team when we got in that game. So you got to be ready for a dog fight. You got to be ready to go for 4 quarters. And when in doubt, you have to be physical. Just be physical, because that is going to ultimately propel you to the win.
Yeah, dude, we went up there in 2001. We were the exact same as Michigan as this year. We were 6-5. And we were.
Were they good?
I don't know. Yeah, they were like top top 10 for sure in the country, maybe top 5. No, they were top 10. They were like 7th in the country, something like that.
Okay.
And they were, a multi-touchdown favorite, and we ended up winning the game. So
what you got for this?
Yeah, this one. I mean, that's the one thing that's stuck in the back of my mind is like we went up there and no one gave us a chance, and we didn't win the national championship the year before. We did in 03, and then we did win it in 02, and then 03 went up there and lost. So I don't know, man. This is a rivalry game. Ohio State should win. They're the better team, but it's like one of those deals. They throw out the records, right? I mean, you kind of have to. So I think Ohio State wins. It'll be closer than 20 points, I think.
You think closer, so they don't cover.
Yeah, I don't know. I said yesterday on UCSS that I thought they'd cover the 20. Now I think it's like a 10-point game.
I think
I'm doing a little more diving into it.
It's just a little more hate there. They got obviously Tony Alford left in the spring to become the running backs coach up there, which I talked to him since then. When I was up there, there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize behind the scenes, but it's going to be hate there for that. So that's going to play a part into it, and for both sides. So you know what, you might be right. It might be closer than 20 points. It doesn't matter. The Buckeyes just need to win the game. I don't care if it's by 1 point. They just need to win the game so they can get to the Big Ten championship. But a dominant win would be really fulfilling. Now that they don't have the Connor Stallions and all of those things.
Yeah.
There'll be no excuse in this game. It is what it is. So I just want to see them go out there, dominate, and get back on top. And, man, we need to rip off 10 straight because I'm trying to get the all-time record. I'm trying to get the all-time wins. We were so close, and then they ripped off 3. So we got to find a way to nip that in the bud.
We'll get it back.
All right, y'all. Make sure y'all leave y'all score predictions in the comments.
Yeah.
This is a big game. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy the game. Make sure y'all enjoy y'all Thanksgiving. And, yeah, me and Dustin, we'll see y'all when we see y'all.
Peace.